Everyone, thanks for stopping by and seeing what I'm up to. My name is Silkyfeather, and you can call me Silky. Here at Silkyfeather's Nest, we are going to continue with part 10 of Unfuck Your Habitat by Rachel Hoffman, read by Emily Wu Zeller.
Wash, dry, and put it away, goddammit. Laundry and dishes have 3 steps, everyone. It's not done until it's put away. Be honest. How much laundry do you have sitting around where it doesn't belong? Clean clothes languishing in laundry baskets? Finished clothes sitting in the dryer? And let's not forget the ever-present floor-robe. Your floor, or chair, bed, desk, is not the best place to keep your clothes. I bet you have dressers and or closets and such designed especially to deal with all of those clothes. The trouble is, they're not going to do you any good unless you use them. First things first, though. You can't put things away if everything doesn't have a home. So make sure you have enough storage for your stuff, and if not, it's time to look into less stuff or more storage. Less stuff is almost always the better and easier answer. Once you have adequate storage, you actually need to use it. Putting your clothes away saves you from doing a ton of laundry too, because sometimes you just scoop stuff up and wash it, even if you're not sure it's actually dirty. You know you do. It's easier than taking a couple of extra seconds to figure out whether or not you can wear it again. Make sure all of your laundry has a place, so that when you do a load or two, putting it away isn't a major feat of engineering and organization. Once you have a home for everything, the only reason for leaving clean clothes all over the place is your own unwillingness to take a few extra minutes to put them away. It's okay. We've all been there. But now we're trying to get past it. Make it a habit to get clean clothes to where they belong immediately after everything is dry, rather than leaving things neglected in the dryer, in the laundry basket, or on the drying rack, or on the floor. As far as dishes go, washing them is great, but it's a big pain in the ass process that none of us enjoys. It's gross and your hands get all wet and you have to stand up for a long time and it's just tedious. If you're facing a sink full of dirty dishes, there's very little in the world that's less appealing than having to take the time to wash them and leave them to dry. Including the additional step of putting them away makes the whole process seem even crappier. Even if you're lucky enough to have a dishwasher, you still need to load it and run it, which is kind of annoying too. So I understand the inclination to want to stand back and celebrate once you've gotten the damn things washed. Really, I do. But you aren't done until they're put away. Running the dishwasher is all well and good, but if your sink is accumulating a mountain of dirty dishes because your clean ones are still camped out in the dishwasher, well, your dish system isn't working so well. Put them away. Same rules apply if you hand wash and use a drying rack. Either put them away as soon as they're dry, or help the process along by grabbing a dish towel and drying them right away. The habit of put it away, goddammit, is a fairly advanced one because it adds time to an already unpleasant process, and it requires expending extra effort after you've already worked pretty hard on getting the stuff clean and dry. It takes a little longer to incorporate into your everyday routine. But once you've gotten into the habit of putting your dishes and laundry away, you'll find yourself so much further ahead of the game than you started out. Mini challenge. Do you have laundry that needs to be put away? Go put 10 items away. Maybe even empty a whole laundry basket. Deal with your invisible corners. After you've been living somewhere for a significant amount of time, you start to accumulate things in spaces I refer to as invisible corners. Invisible corners are those areas that have become dumping grounds for random crap for so long that you fail to really register them when you look around. Maybe it's a pile of unshredded mail and random electronic accessories stashed under an end table, or a stack of unpacked boxes in a little used closet, or that jumble of daily detritus that permanently lives on the kitchen counter. Whatever and wherever your particular collections of stuff are, chances are they've been there long enough that you barely see them anymore, even when they're right in your way day in and day out. Invisible corners can contribute to the overall mess in a way that you might not realize. After spending a bunch of time doing your regular maintenance cleaning, you may find that your space still doesn't feel clean for some reason. That might be due to an invisible corner or two that's leading to an overall feeling of disarray. These spots, for some reason, have proven to be convenient or easy places to stash things you aren't dealing with. So they become a jumble of miscellaneous stuff that just grows and grows over time, unnoticed and unaddressed. To find your invisible corners, it might be necessary to employ some before pictures or even another set of eyes. You might be registering these areas in the same way you register your walls or furniture. Not at all. You know they're there, but they never sink in as something you actually need to deal with. So consider taking a 360-degree set of pictures and really looking at them to see what spots you have that need to be dealt with. Or bring in a trusted friend or family member to take a look around and see what jumps out. A fresh set of eyes is sometimes all it takes to point out areas that are obvious to others but invisible to you. Invisible corners can exist anywhere, large or small, hidden or exposed. You may have them in your refrigerator, in a closet, in the middle of the living room, in your front entryway, at the foot of your bed, anywhere. They can consist of just 3 or 4 items, or they can be stacks and stacks of boxes containing dozens of things each. Regardless of the size or scope of the invisible corner, it's not going to get any better unless you identify and disassemble it. The great thing about invisible corners is that they generally don't take that long to deal with. They've grown and accumulated stuff over who knows how long, but they can almost always be managed in a few 2010s. The difficult part is keeping them from reappearing. Something about those particular spots makes them prime dumping grounds for stuff, and you've already proven that you can ignore their existence on a daily basis. You may have success with rearranging things so that the spot is no longer able to accumulate stuff, or you may need to add it into your maintenance cleaning routine. Whatever method you employ to deal with them, make sure your invisible corners aren't reappearing due to inattention. Tackle an invisible corner. Take a set of pictures of one main room in your home, making sure every part of the room is in at least one picture. Identify an invisible corner that needs to be cleaned up. Set a timer for 20 minutes and work on it, taking a 10-minute break afterward. Repeat with another 20-10 if needed, until the area is all cleaned up. Take pictures. Everyone loves a makeover. But the trouble with cleaning up your own mess is that sometimes when you're in the middle of it, it's really difficult to see any progress that you've made. Your brain is constantly updating its internal picture of what that space looks like, so you don't necessarily remember exactly how messy it was to begin with. Snapping a quick picture before you start, and then at intervals throughout the cleaning process, and finally when you're finished, accomplishes several things. First, after working for a while, you'll likely feel like you haven't made any noticeable progress. Having a clear before picture reminds you what it really looked like to start, and how far you've come. It can also be helpful in pointing out hidden areas that need attention. By letting you look at the environment from outside, a good before picture can help you turn a critical eye to the area and see things you may not have noticed before. Plus, once you're finished and the area is clean, you have visual proof of what you've accomplished, and also a reference to look at once things start getting messy again. When things start to accumulate and it all begins to feel hopeless, you can always refer back to your pictures to remind yourself that not only can you do it, but you have done it. Remind yourself that your home can be nice and clean, and that you have the ability to make it that way. Use your after pictures as a guide to help you remember what any particular area looks like when it's actually clean, and to serve as a rough template for how to get that space back to neat and organized. So, before you tackle that closet from hell or prepare to do battle with the crap that ate the dining room table, take a picture. Then snap a few during the process. And take one when you're done. Your brain may not see the improvements you've made, but your camera sure as hell will. It's your objective eye that sees things much more clearly and accurately than the ones in your head when you're in the middle of everything. Fire up the camera. It's worth it. More stuff than storage. In a perfect world, cleaning and organizing coexist peacefully. In the real world, sometimes we're good at one but not the other, and sometimes we're just terrible at both. Ultimately, before you can begin to clean, you need to uncover enough surface area to actually have something to clean. This requires organizational skills. This also, however, is where so many people stall out and give up before they ever make any progress. In its own way, organization is more difficult than cleaning, because it's not always dictated by common sense, and it's often overwhelming and frustrating. There's no shortage of books and articles and websites telling you how to organize your stuff. Most people try over and over again to get organized and end up falling short of success, only to turn around and try the same thing again. And again. Shockingly, it rarely works those times either. So it's worthwhile to take a step back and look at why so many of these organizational tips and systems don't work for so many people, and try a new approach that does. One of the main reasons we give up on trying to organize our stuff is, frankly, that it's a lot of effort. Not many of us have unlimited time and energy to devote to getting our mess under control. But here's another way that 2010s and working in small sections can come in handy. A full overhaul of, say, your closet can take hours or days, leaving you completely worn out at the end and unlikely to ever want to go through the whole process again. But when you give yourself small, attainable goals, you'll end up making far more progress in the long term, and not being so afraid of the upkeep. By tackling one drawer, shelf, or cabinet at a time, you're less likely to find yourself giving up, frustrated and surrounded by every item you own strewn about the floor with no idea what to do with any of them. We're disorganized primarily because we have more stuff than storage. There are two solutions: less stuff or more storage. Less stuff is almost always the better option. You've probably seen all the helpful tips and how to get organized lists that tell you about cute, creative storage solutions to organize a whole lot of crap you probably don't need. Everything is much easier to organize when you don't have so much of it. Not to mention that storage is expensive, takes up a lot of room, and can be overwhelming to set up. The dark side of minimalism. Less stuff can be a bit of a trap, however. The recent obsession with decluttering has its downsides. The quest for minimalism can ultimately leave you feeling like a failure if you don't get rid of every single item you own and surround yourself with a sterile, Spartan environment. You should absolutely aim to reduce the number of items you have, especially if you have a lot of things that you don't use or don't love, but not to the point where you end up chucking everything you own. Perhaps more important is figuring out what you actually need, and learning how to work with that. Let's face it, to function well in modern life, you need a certain amount of stuff. You don't necessarily need 5 of every item you own, but unless you're thinking of moving to a mountaintop and living only off the land, purging everything but your bed, 1 set of dishes, and a single change of clothes isn't much more helpful than keeping every item that crosses your path. Compulsive decluttering and compulsive hoarding are opposite sides of the same coin. They both result in extreme behavior that dictates how you interact with the stuff around you. Getting rid of everything you own is not healthier or any better to aspire to than never getting rid of anything at all. And yet we tend to view a minimalist home as something we should constantly be striving toward. More important than just chucking every one of your possessions is to find a good balance between utility and minimalism. A balance that allows you to take a critical look at the things you have, use, and need, and figure out what to keep, what to get rid of, and how to organize what's left. While minimalism might seem like a noble goal, it's important to realize that it might be unattainable.
And that's where we're going to pause today. We've reached our 15 minutes. Thanks for hanging out with me, Silky, here at Silkyfeather's Nest Audio Book Club. Be kind to one another. Life is way too short. My nephew suffered a severe accident this morning on his motorcycle. He is in very critical care. I will maintain my book show every day for as long as I can continue. Thank you for stopping by. Once again, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks. This is Silky signing off. Bye-bye.